Joining us right now live on the line, friend of the program, Hall of Famer, coach at SMU, the great Larry Brown. Coach, it's Adam Schein, Schein on Sports, Mad Dog Sports Radio, Sirius XM. How are you?
I'm good, Adam. Nice to hear your voice.
It's good to hear your voice, Coach, and it's good to have you back on the program. It's been a fascinating year for you guys at SMU. A lot of highs, couple of lows. You know, I watched that first game against UConn. The second game over the weekend, not a replica of the first one. What happened over the weekend?
They played great. They made shots. Their perimeter play was phenomenal. You know, Boatwright, Purvis, Hamilton were great. You know, when you go 18 for 20 from the free throw line and shoot 50% from three and score 46 out of 49 points, and a lot of them were tough shots, they just deserve to win. And, you know, we even had a chance, with all that being said, with a minute and 20, we were down 4 and had a steal and had an unfortunate call late. But they really played great. And, you know, they have a pedigree. They had 4 guys, you know, on that team playing a lot of minutes that, you know, played on a national championship team. So, and it was a great experience for us. We would have loved to have won, but, you know, we got a week to learn from that and get ready for Tulsa.
And take us through that in terms of getting ready for, number one, because you're right, they have a championship pedigree, not a great season for UConn, but they certainly have that pedigree, and the core guys came to play, to your point, no question about it. How do you use that now as a learning experience to get you guys ready, to get SMU ready for a huge showdown with Tulsa coming up this weekend?
Well, you know, every game's a learning experience. Every game you try to figure out what you did well and what you need to get better at. But one, we have great respect for Tulsa. You know, Frank's done a great job. You know, Danny left him with a team that, you know, went to the NCAA Tournament and have won some big games. They got 9 juniors coming back. We got to play our best game. It's senior night, which is huge for us. You know, Matt Doherty left me with some quality older guys. We had Nick Russell and Sean Williams last year, and now Ryan Manuel and Cannon Cunningham. So last year we lost to Louisville on senior night. They were a great team, and, you know, we acted silly down the stretch and gave that game away. And this year, I hope we learn from that. But we have to play our best. We need to do a better job, like you said, defending, because that wasn't a typical game for us. And we have to play at a high level, and I'm confident we will.
Do you draw upon the last matchup against Tulsa? I thought Cunningham did a good job, especially down the stretch. I thought your defense was exceptional in that game. Is that a reference point for you guys going into this showdown at home now against Tulsa?
Adam, it always is. You know, we don't have Emmanuel Mudiay and didn't have a chance to replace him. You know, we lost Keith Frazier and Justin Martin, 2 guys that were quality players. You know, so the way we win is by defending and rebounding and taking care of the ball and taking great shots. We didn't do a couple of those things as well as we needed to against Connecticut, but we have to do them against Tulsa. So we got 5 days to prepare for that. And, you know, our MO, our values are to defend and take great shots. And hopefully we do that.
Yeah, and they shot in that game, Larry, 28%, as you know. The defense was outstanding. And, you guys have done a good job on defense, I think, for the most part all year. Done a good job in terms of distributing the basketball. You're 15th in assists per game nationwide. You've done a nice job in terms of field goal percentage. Is that the MO for this team? And this is what I've seen watching the games, especially those on the great package on CBS Sports Network, where you guys put the clamps on defense and it leads to high percentage looks on offense. Is that a fair assessment of how you guys have been successful this season?
Well, I think the last couple of years, it's something that I think we've always tried. We always wanted to take great shots. And you take great shots by sharing the ball and rebounding and maybe creating turnovers. And we always want to limit our opponent to one bad shot without fouling, and that's something we work on. You can't defend well if you don't rebound. You can't defend well if you take quick bad shots. And you can't defend well if you can't keep people in front of you. And that's what we try to do every single day. Sometimes we're good at it, and sometimes not. But for the most part, that's been our MO, and that'll continue to be our MO.
I mentioned the word interesting in describing the season, Larry, in the introduction to you coming back on the show. Frankly, I've watched you guys play, and I've been very impressed with, obviously the exception being the loss, of course, this weekend. And I do think it's a tip of the cap to UConn. There have also been some defections from the program, whether it's an assistant coach, whether it's a transfer, the notice of allegations from the NCAA. You guys have persevered through it all. How would you characterize this season for Larry Brown and SMU basketball?
Well, I'm proud of our team. I'm proud of our school. I'm proud of what we're trying to do here. Emmanuel going to China, I didn't think that was a good decision, but he did it for the right reasons. I hate to see other people follow that path. That makes me kind of nervous. Marcus being ineligible first semester, that was a problem that he faced. He didn't work hard enough. But I think he's learned from it and has really bounced back. Justin Martin deciding he wanted to go pro. Again, it's something I didn't entirely agree with, but you got to support it. Keith's situation, really troubles me because I think he's done everything he can to try to be a good student and do the right thing. The allegations, things like that happen. I'm confident we've done the right things here. But I'm most proud that our kids have been able to overcome that. And where we've lost some players, it's given other kids an opportunity to play, and they've all stepped up. I'm thrilled, with the support we have. This program wasn't relevant for a long time. Mm-hmm. And we went to play UConn, and they filled up that arena in Hartford. There was almost 20,000 people there. To think that we were a big game on national TV at SMU was something that I think we all took a lot of pride in. And then when I read that UConn upset us,
Think about that. Yeah, that's a great point. You're 100% right.
I said, wow, where have we come from? Because they had 4 guys on that team that played on the national championship team and were contributors. And I look at the history of UConn, and I'm saying, wow, we've come a long way, and that made us all feel pretty special.
I think that's a great take, and I think you're spot on, and especially when you think about that headline and how it reads. You think you guys have done everything right in terms of making the NCAA tournament? I still can't believe, Larry, what transpired last year. You feel confident in making the tournament this upcoming March in terms of Selection Sunday in about a week and a half?
Well, you make me nervous with your comment, you can't believe what happened. I didn't say anything after we got, left out because I didn't think it was fair to other teams that got in. But, we were 4-6 against top 20 teams last year. Our conference was a great conference, but when I saw Louisville 4, I couldn't believe it, and I knew we were in trouble. But at the end of the day, we beat the national champs twice, and a 7th seed in our conference or 8th seed in our conference won the national championship. So we don't take anything for granted. We played a great schedule. We've had adversity. We won 7 road games in our conference. We've done some pretty darn important things here. We haven't been blown out of any game but the Gonzaga game, and that was our first game without Marcus. So I think we have a good resume, but I don't know what the criteria is. But I do know I'm proud of what our team's done. And whatever happens, we got to deal with it and move forward. But we're going to be a force in college ball for a long time, and that drives me every day.
What does it mean to you on a personal level? And you've accomplished so much in the NBA, in college basketball. The building of this program, dealing with adversity, if you guys make the tournament, what would that mean to you on a personal achievement level?
I don't think that way, especially in light of what happened in the last 2 weeks, with Coach Smith's passing.
Yep.
All I think about now is what he's meant to me and what so many people that he touched. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing if it wasn't for him. Every day I try to, be like him, and I fall short. But I think if we were fortunate enough to make the tournament, and our program, continues to grow, I think he'd be smiling, and that would make me happy.
Elaborate on your relationship with Coach and what he meant to you.
I've said this numerous times. He's the most decent man I ever met. I thought he was the greatest teacher that I've ever been around. I thought he cared about the game, and which is something we all should do that have the opportunity to coach. But he cared more about the people that he touched. And that's the thing that stands out with me. Sunday when I got the news from Scott Saturday night, but I spoke to Roy Sunday morning, and when I got that news, I was sick. I didn't know, how to deal with it, that he passed away. But then I started reading about what people thought about him and what he accomplished, and how many people he impacted. I just felt fortunate that I had an opportunity to be around him. And now all the things that he taught me, I just hope that I have an opportunity to share that with others.
Very well said. Larry Brown, of course, with Adam Schein, Schein on Sports, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports Radio. Larry, when you look at college basketball this year, there are some people that talk about the shot clock, talk about the quality of play, talk about, the fact that nobody can beat Kentucky. Do you think college basketball is in good shape? Do you think college basketball needs to make some changes in any way, shape, or form? What would you do if you were the czar of college basketball?
Well, I think basketball in general needs to be changed a little bit. We're not teaching kids how to play. Too many young kids are going to the NBA, and they're not ready. I welcome this freshman ineligible idea. Now, I don't welcome it for LeBron or maybe Durant or some special kids, because if you're a golfer or a tennis player, you know, you have the right to turn pro. So those special ones I get, but if a kid didn't play his freshman year, just had a freshman schedule, the likelihood of him staying in school longer and graduating would be way up. The likelihood of him being prepared when he got to the NBA would be unbelievable. And I think so many young kids that go into the NBA, physically they're ready, but, you know, in terms of learning how to play, I don't think they are. And playing at the highest level, that would scare me. I think we got to have one set of rules for basketball in general, and that troubles me. So if I was the czar, I'd make sure that we had a set of rules. The zone rules in the NBA, people don't even understand them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I always say this, if you're a great wide receiver, they can double-team you in football. If you're a great hitter, they can walk you. So why not double or triple team a great player in basketball? That his value is there as soon as they do that. It makes other players around them better. But I like to see one set of rules. I'd like to see kids stay in school longer, where they're better prepared academically. They have a chance to graduate. They're better prepared emotionally when they go into the league. And we do a better job of coaching and teaching them, so when they do play in the NBA, if they're lucky enough to do that, they're going to be successful. So I think those are some of the things that would mean a lot to me personally.
Larry, what's your take on how the Philadelphia 76ers have attacked their roster and their plan over the last few years?
You know, I got in trouble for saying some things about what they were doing about a year ago. A lot of it, you know, they didn't take my whole statement. I'm not an analytic guy, even though since I'm 14 I've been doing analytics. I know who can shoot, I know who can, I know who you can count on at the end of the game. I know who's a good outside shooter, who's not. I value turnovers, block shots, rebounds, assists, steals. But you can't judge a player by analytics. I think you judge a player by how you teach him and how he's ready to handle, you know, playing against the very best. But at the end of the day, I promised the people in Philly I'd give them a chance. And maybe they do have the right way and the answer to how to build a franchise. And I'm going to support that because I love the time I had in Philly. I love our sport. My biggest concern is that we're not teaching kids. We're worried about information instead of teaching kids how to play. And that's the thing that troubles me most.
Did you pay attention to that Daryl Morey, Charles Barkley back and forth as the conversation about analytics versus talent? And if so, what was your read, what was your take, Larry, on that back and forth in conversation?
Well, I love Charles. Charles says what's on his mind, and he was as great a player as we have. Morey, you know, you look at Houston, and they've done some wonderful things. But you can use both. But at the end of the day, coaches and teachers develop players. You know, all these owners in the NBA, they've made their money by evaluating information that they were given to run their businesses. You know, coaches get information to help them teach their kids and impose their values to help them win. But it's not like football down and distance. It's not like baseball, you know, lefty against righty, inside pitch against outside pitch, whether they hit better with one strike or two strikes. Basketball is a game, the most competitive guys, the best teammates, the guys that sit in the locker room and teach young kids how to be pros are far more important than analytics. And I believe that. And listen to this. This is a dumb statement. But when I was growing up as a young coach, Red Holzman, Red Auerbach, Jack Ramsey, Dick Motta, Pat Riley, Phil Jackson, Lenny Wilkins, Don Nelson, Cotton Fitzsimmons. Those guys were coaches and teachers. I had to go up against them every single night. The young kids didn't play till they were ready to play, and they prepared everybody to be great. I don't see that happening now, and that troubles me.
How does that change? How does that change? Because you're right, and the guys you mentioned, we're talking about real teachers. We're talking about real coaches. How do you fix that? Are there not enough good coaches? Is it a coaching philosophy? How do we fix that, Larry?
I think there's enough good coaches. There's some great young coaches in the NBA, but here's my point. We're not teaching kids how to play, and we're not doing that in college. They put kids in a system and don't teach them how to play because the pressure to win is so great. When I said let freshmen learn how to play first, I learned how to coach as a freshman coach, and all we did was teach fundamentals that Coach Smith insists that I teach our kids. When you get a young coach in the NBA and you give them a head job, what's the first thing you do? You hire older, experienced guys to sit with them.
Mm-hmm.
That's ass backwards.
Yeah.
And then you get these workout coaches that teach kids how to dribble between cones and shoot over a tennis racket and do all this silly stuff. You don't teach them how to get open, how to set a screen, how to value a good shot, how to pass to an open man, how to block out, how to do things, that give your team a chance to win. And I don't blame them, but that's just the nature of our game. And everybody's talking about how we got to figure out ways to make our game better. We'll teach kids how to play. Lowering the shot clock in college is not going to help our game. You're going to see more bad shots. You're going to see teams that are far better going to win more frequently because, you're going to have more possessions. You won't see upsets. So we got to figure out how we can improve the game. I remember I used to have an argument in the NBA over and over again. They used to talk about how we have to help scoring and it was getting too physical. And so for 10 years they kept saying, well, scoring's going up. Well, fouling was going up.
Right.
The number of shots taken wasn't going up. And I kept saying, let's figure out a way how we can take more shots. And I never heard that being addressed.
Final question. Do you think Phil Jackson knows what he's doing as an executive, and do you think he can fix the Knicks?
I hope so, because the league needs a great franchise in New York. How can you ever question what he's done? He won 11 championships. I think he's kind of gutted the team this year and threw in the towel, which is hard for me to accept, but I also see why he's done it. So, like I sit here every day and hope that Philly gets great and what they're doing is the right thing to do. I'd like to see the Knicks win because, the greatest fans in pro sports and a city that loves basketball as much as any, deserves a great franchise. So let's hope that he can get it done. Because guys want to play in New York. That's obvious. And I think when you look at what Phil's done, I'm sure guys want to play for him.
Larry, as always, we appreciate the time. It's always great talking basketball with you. Continued success. Best of luck this weekend, and we will talk to you again real soon, my friend. And as always, we appreciate the conversation.
Thanks so much.
Larry Brown, of course.